Hello, you guys. It's a little, it's about 3 something in the morning. I don't know the exact time. I should have looked at it, but it's very, very early. But I just woke up, came out of a dream, very terrible dream. I just wanted to share. Yesterday, June the 24th, 2026, if I'm not mistaken, it was Wednesday. So I went to the bank. I had to catch the bus because I didn't have any money. And my brother couldn't take me because he had to work, so I just took the bus. It didn't bother me. So I took the bus, 7-mile bus, Woodward to West Grand Boulevard, to the Cadillac building, where my bank is located. So as I'm catching the bus, of course, same old. Got on the bus, the 7-mile bus first, and it was same smell that I always smell, always. So just get on the bus, sat down, and just listening to the daily text for all the Jehovah's Witnesses that they look at every day. So I was listening to that, and we make it to Woodward. I get off the bus. It's like, as soon as I got off the bus, the stench was so strong. And like I said, it's the same stench that I always smell when I go to the store, walking up the street, when I walk out the building, when I'm in this place, and going places, with people taking me places. Same old. This time I got on the work bus, I started smelling morning breath. It was so strong. I'm like, come on now. I just sat here. I take baths every day, faithfully. Brush my teeth every day. So that shouldn't even be happening, especially morning breath. How can you smell like morning breath after you brush your teeth? That popped gum in your mouth, but it was there. Then I smelled pee. I'm like, okay, well, the pee smell could have been from being on the bus, whatever. But mostly, okay, so I go to the bank, get what I needed. I came on out. I said, you know what? It's a nice day out. I'm gonna go downtown, chill out, see what's going on down there, and just go to the river walk and just enjoy the water and weather, and just being around the people. So that's what I did. I go down there. I went to CVS to put some money on the card, and just walked on downtown. And, went to the river walk, and just kind of like chilled out. I walked past a certain area, and I totally forgotten about this. Sometimes when you went through something that's traumatic or that's bad, you push it in the back of your head and, just forget about it, I guess. I've done that before, and then years or so later, if something came about, a smell or a sight or a feel of something, I don't know, it just comes back on you, or a dream, like tonight. So, walked past a certain area, when I was homeless, there was this man, I used to talk to, as a friend, he was really cool, he was a very smart man, very articulate, just very, very intelligent. and I was enjoying just listening to him. You know, his conversations and different things like that. And I was attracted to it. I'm not gonna lie. I done lost a lot. I've been through a lot, and so just felt lonely. Just was out there by myself, and didn't really have no friends. Didn't nothing. Just like separated myself from normal people that I normally be around. You know, family and friends and stuff. So I was very just in my feelings, you know, emotionally and, you know, and just feeling some type of way, whatever. So, just, you know, just really enjoyed this person's conversation. He was, you know, into philosophical type things, you know, reading books on just different philosophies, people that was behind the philosophy. So I was really just admired by this person, his knowledge and just everything about him. And I don't know, I'm human, just like anybody else. You know, I was a little attracted to the person because of how intelligent he was. And I'm like, wow, why are you out here? You know, you're able to, you know, get to a place and get off the streets. You got people here that's willing to help you. Ain't nobody helping me, but you got all this pull and all these people you know. You could have easily gotten off the street. Why are you here? You don't even need to be out here. And I guess he just chose to be out there. I couldn't understand it. You know, I would see him a lot. You know, like I said, I was attracted to him, you know, and I kind of pushed myself off on him, you know. Just wanted that intimacy, I guess, companionship. I don't know, but that's how I was feeling back then. Just, I don't know. Anyways, I was attracted, and so one day I went down there, and he was sitting down there with some people, some other homeless people, and he was sitting down. So you know, when you sit down, your pants leg raises up a little. So I was able to look at his ankle because his pants legs raised up when he sat down. And mind you, most of the time when I was down there, you know, he would have this little thing over his ankle. I was like, what is that on your ankle? He said, oh, he been in jail. So I realized it was just an ankle monitor from the police department. They monitoring him, you know, whatever. So again, it didn't bother me, you know. I wasn't really bothered about that. He said he was in jail or whatever, or probation. I don't know. I don't remember, but you know, he had that on. So another time I went down there, his pants leg raised up, and I didn't see it no more. And so I was like, and I kept looking around at both legs, make sure I'm not overlooking. I mean, his pants leg was raised up high enough, and I didn't see it in the area where he had it. I said, where your ankle monitor? I don't see it. He said, oh, it's there, it's there. Now, mind you, when you put an ankle monitor on you, it's around your ankle. I didn't see it around his ankle. And so some red flags started popping up in my head. I'm like, and then I thought, maybe they took it off. I don't know. He kept saying it was there. He would never raise his leg up. After I looked at his leg, he pushed his pants legs down somehow, trying to cover up his leg or whatever. And I just let it go. So, well, whatever. Next day, he came, and it was there. So, I was thinking, like, you know, usually ankle monitors are around your ankle. So it can't be no higher than that, I don't think. At least I didn't see it. Anyway, so his pants is like raised up the first time, well over his knee, ankle, excuse me. So I'm like, I didn't see it there, nowhere near. And then it just appears the next day. So anyways, I just started to wonder about him, but then I dismissed it. You know. So one evening, we was all down at the Hart Plaza there, and just sitting around, whatever. And he decided to lay down. And he made himself a little pallet on the ground or whatever, on the grass, excuse me. And so it's like, why don't you just, you come over here, you can lay next to me, I ain't gonna let nothing happen to you, and this and that, you cool. So, because normally I would just walk off and not go to the place where I normally sleep, mostly like the courthouse or a church or something like that. But I just said, okay, I'll lay there. I laid down on the pallet, and then he put the cover over us. And so we just laid there. We talked for maybe couple seconds. I don't know. I just know it was dark, and it was really late, probably like 12 or 1, I don't know. But it was you could tell it was late because there wasn't nobody walking around. At least I didn't see it. So it's pretty dark. So in the area where we were at was, a little shadow, like darkish, whatever. So I just said, well, okay. I just didn't feel comfortable laying there, but as long as he was there, I was fine. I remember he would always tell me he knew people, killers, people who do things to people and this and that, and so I'm like. And like I said, most of that stuff he was telling me, it didn't bother me at that time. So anyways, get back to the story. So I'm laying there, and next thing I know, here's the touchy-feely stuff. And usually I don't let nobody do all that to me, but again, I was attracted to him, and I allowed it to happen. Next thing I know, he done pulled up my shirt, whatever, and he put his mouth on my breast, my left breast. I remember it. Okay, so he's doing that, like a suck type thing on my chest, on my breast. So he's doing that, and I'm like, I was enjoying. I ain't gonna lie, I was enjoying that for a moment. And then next thing I know, I wear pants, so put his hands in my underwear and was touchy down there, and once he did that, that's when it started to become uncomfortable because obviously he must have nails or something. And so while he's doing what he's doing there, it became uncomfortable for me. So, and then not only top of that, he's on my chest. And so, the suck reflexes of what he was doing was so uncomfortable, like he was biting on my chest or something. And so I'm trying to push him off. I'm like, I said, stop. I just kept telling him to stop. I kept trying to push him off. I kept just telling him to stop. And I told him, that it hurt. Stop. And so he just kept going, kept doing that to me. So I'm looking around, trying to see is anybody around. I'm like, dang, if I scream, who gonna hear it? Ain't nobody there. So he's just at it, just grinding on me, and I don't know. I was just so uncomfortable. He put his body weight on my arm, so I couldn't move. So the appearance would look like he was raping me, but he really wasn't. It was just he had his finger in my vagina, and he was sucking on my chest, and it was just very uncomfortable. So I was just in a lot of distress dealing with that. And so I'm looking around and just to see anybody, anything, anybody, but I didn't see nobody. So I remember looking up above my head, and there was a camera somewhere nearby, like up above, and I'm like, that's a police camera, so they got to be seeing this. And so I was looking at the camera in distress, like it was painful, I ain't gonna lie. Very, very painful, so painful. And it's like he didn't care, he didn't want to stop. And so I'm pushing, I'm trying to pull myself away, and it wouldn't budge. I couldn't move, it just had me pinned down. And so I'm looking at this camera, and I kept staring at it, hoping that somebody walked by, a cop or anything, but nobody ever did. So he just kept going and kept going, and like I said, I was begging him to stop. I told him it hurts, and I still kept looking around, because if I saw somebody, then I would have, done what I had to do to get their attention. But didn't see nobody in sight, and all the people, that was around, camping around with us. I noticed when I got up, in the end, they weren't even nowhere nearby. Like, where these people go? But that happened, and finally he stopped, and I just pushed myself off, straightened myself up, and got up underneath the cover, and I just walked off. Before I walked off, he was asking me where I was going and all this stuff, whatever. And so, I told him I'm about to go off somewhere and just chill out. I just wanted to get away from him. Like, I wanted to get away. And I just couldn't believe, what just transpired. Like, I couldn't believe what happened. I couldn't believe that happened. I'm like, man, I just know this man didn't assault me. I told him to stop. And he still kept going and going and going. So I couldn't, oh my God. So much emotions and feelings just piled up on me immediately. And I'm just walking up the street, and before I left, he was telling me about what you about to do. You about to go to that courthouse where you be laying at? That's where I was laying at the time. Like, how the hell he know that? And I remember him telling me a while back, and he know everything of what I do. He said, where I'm laying, where I'm going, and places I've been, just everything. And I couldn't understand how. I said, how do you know where I be? And he said, got people out there watching me, following me around, stuff like that. And so I'm like, why? He said, you gotta make sure you're safe. I'm like, yeah, but why? You not? It just didn't click in my head at the time. So why he was doing that? Out of all the people that's homeless, you following me? So okay, so I'm walking up the street. It's really late, and I just couldn't believe what happened to me. Just take some little shortcuts down certain streets or whatever. And I just remember, I couldn't believe what happened. I couldn't even explain the feeling, Just so many feelings of bad things that happened to me in my past started to pop up in my head. And then that situation, I was literally shaking, walking and shaking. That's how bad it was. I had to calm myself down to get myself together. Then I started to cry as I'm walking. And then I just wiped the tears, and I just got myself together. I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't believe it. And so I get to the DMC hospital down there off of Mac. And I think it was right there by Harper Hospital. And so I went through their little drive-through way, and it leads off to receiving. So I took a shortcut through their little place just to get to the next street and onto my spot. And I remember just walking through this driveway that was through receiving. And like I said, it was really, really late. And, you know, after that happened, I didn't think about going to the hospital and just let them check me out and tell them what happened. Because I remember he said he know people that kill. And I started, all the stuff he was saying started to just flood back in my thoughts. And I don't know, I was just afraid. I became afraid. I was afraid. I thought about going there, but I quickly dismissed it. You know, I'm out here and I don't know where to go, so anything could happen to me. So I'm like, because he talking about something, he got people following me around. So I said, the best thing to do is just keep going and just leave that alone. And like I said, I was very, very afraid. And I remember getting to the hospital, receiving. And I was about to cross over so I can go back to Frank. I think it's called Lincoln Hall of Justice there on Forest. You know, the courthouse. That's where I was sleeping at. And so as I'm crossing over from receiving, I heard a lady's voice, and she was like, she started yelling. I'm trying to remember how she exactly said it. Oh, let me watch you across the street so you won't get raped again. And I looked around. I didn't see nobody else crossing the street but me. It's really late. So I just looked around trying to find the person to the voice that said that. I looked around and I couldn't find that person. Maybe she was hiding around something or in the car. I don't know. But I heard her say that and I couldn't find her. And so I kept going. I didn't want to be dealing with nothing else. I had a share of enough things that I've been through, and then just going through that, that drained me. Like I just wanted to go, lay down, and just rest. And so I get to the courthouse, and I got between this little area of the courthouse where you can slide in and without nobody noticing you there. I didn't feel safe. And I just was very afraid, and I just laid in there, and it was very dark, so you couldn't see in there. And I just laid down, and I cried. I cried my eyes. I couldn't believe what just happened. It's like I'm homeless. I've been through so much for that to happen. You know, I was so drained. So I laid there, cried for a minute, so I fell asleep. And when I woke up, it was still dark. I was looking around. It was very quiet. Besides the cars on the freeway by the courthouse. And I just happened to look up, just looking around, make sure I'm safe, you know. And there was this dog that walked on by. So I got quiet. He didn't see me. And I just watched him as he went on about his business. And I don't know, just sat there. And I think I got up. I had to use the bathroom or something. I'm trying to remember. I think I did. You know, I think I went off just to pee somewhere near that courthouse. I just went on and did that. And there was enough light around, because they have light all around the building. So I looked down at myself. I was trying to pull my underwear up. So I'm wiping myself to pee, make sure there's no wetness there. And I did that. And I don't know, like I was really, my vaginal area just was very sore, like from what he was doing, you know. Like I said, he may have had nails or something. I don't know. I just know it was so uncomfortable down there, you know. And so when I looked down in my underwear, yeah, I had blood in my underwear. It wasn't much, but it was there. And so I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I'm like, oh my God. I took them off really fast. I didn't want to even see that. That reminded me of something, but yeah. So, took those off, the tissue, put it in a bag, tossed it, just threw it away and changed the underwear. And just laid down. And I just sat there the rest of the night. I didn't feel comfortable even being there. But I did. And then once daylight hit, I got up and just walked off. I believe I went back down there to confront him, to ask him why he did what he did. That was so unnecessary. You didn't have to do that to me. You know, but when I went down there, I didn't see no sign of nobody. And I thought that was strange because every day I went down there, they were always there. But not a sign of nobody, no homeless people down there. So I just walked off. But I don't know. I just had to deal with those emotions, what just happened, and I don't know. Like I said, just uncomfortable. Another thing, I looked at my chest where he was at. Once I saw that, I looked at my chest, my left breast. It was purple. I had a bruise on there from him. I mean, it felt like he was biting me, but you know, I felt teeth on my chest when he was doing what he was doing. And that's what caused the discomfort. And he was just going at it like an animal. And it was just so, my breast was painful. Down there was in pain, you know. And like I said, I saw a bruise there from what he did. And I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. And so that explained why my chest was hurting when he was doing that. It left a bruise. Well, eventually it faded off within probably a few days. I don't know. I just kept shirts like this, t-shirts, covered it up, and that was it. I don't know, like I cried that one time, and then it just didn't cry no more. I don't know. So I got my stuff, and I believe I moved to a different area, maybe a church or something. But I don't remember going back to that courthouse after that. Or if I did, like I said, I don't think it was like a long-term stay like I did before. I just moved on. I just felt like I needed to be around cameras. I needed to be somewhere where people can see. So if something happens, at least to see it. Mostly I stayed at churches and things like that, somewhere nearby a camera or nearby a business that was open 24 hours. I don't know. It was well lit. So I was there, and I just felt so numb to the whole situation. So like I said, I just didn't cry much afterwards. Just trying to figure out, like, how can I get off the street? I didn't even tell my therapist this. I was going to teen wellness even when I was homeless, and I didn't even tell her. And strangely, this man knew I was going to teen wellness. And I remember at one time he was telling me, I know you go to teen wellness, he beat you up. I'm like, how you knowing this? He said, he's knowledge. He said, I'm knowledge. I know everything. And so, I don't know, I thought that creeped me straight out. That was creepy to me. And like, he really is following me. He got people following me around or something, because everywhere I went, he knew where I was at. So, I don't know. Finally, in the end, I just never told my therapist about it. I don't believe I even told no, I didn't tell nobody. Didn't tell nobody about it. And so, my therapist, her name was Melissa, so she, one day she just asked me, am I homeless? And I told her, I said no. I was too ashamed to even tell her the truth, if I was homeless or not. And then I believe that happened like maybe 2 or 3 times. So the last time she asked me, I just told her the truth. I felt so unsafe on the streets. I was willing to do anything to get off the street. So finally I told her I was homeless. She asked me again. And she said, I know. I said, you know? She said, yeah. I said, how did you know? And she said, I just kind of sensed you were. And that was it. So I told her I was homeless. And she asked if I wanted to find housing. And I said, yeah. And she sent me to this lady. I'm not going to mention her name just for privacy purposes. But she sent me to this lady who deal with housing in their department. And told her I was homeless and I just wanted to get off the streets, get myself together. I felt unsafe, And so she said she'll locate some housing. She said, does it matter where you go, east, west? I said, you know what? At this point, it don't matter. I didn't know nothing about the west side. I never lived, besides when I was younger. And that was a long time ago. And I don't know what it's about now. So it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to get off the streets. I'll learn it. And she said, okay. So after we had a discussion of helping me find housing, so the next day, I go back to Team One. She said, Miss Harden? It's like, yeah. She said, we found your place. I was like, whoa, in one day? They found it in one day. And she said, I looked through the newspaper and I found it. She told me what the rent was and different things. It was just a 1-bedroom apartment. And I was so excited, I was so happy. She said, when you want to go over there to meet with the landlord? I said, I'm about to get paid. I get paid 1/3 of each month. So we'll go somewhere around that time. So we scheduled that appointment with the landlord. I went over there, talked to him. I didn't have all the money. All I had, I think it was like $600. He was looking for $600 and plus the first month's rent. And so I told him, I said, this is all I have. I'm homeless. I have nowhere to go. And I said, if you allow me to, I can pay you so much money every month, to pay you off. And he said, okay. Sorry. So I gave him the $600. I gave him the $600 and he gave me the key. But so eventually I moved in. I didn't have furniture, I didn't have nothing. I was just laying on the floor in the pallet. But it didn't bother me because at least I had a place to call home. You know, I was off the streets. I didn't have to worry about going through what I've been through and all the things I had to do for survival of being on the streets. I took, a shower and I changed clothes and I just laid down. Man, that was the longest, quietest night. I didn't have a TV, I didn't have nothing. All I had was my cell phone. And I didn't want to see the cell phone. I just laid there and cried for a long time. And then I went to sleep. I think I was under like a deep depression at that time. I was very depressed. I just didn't tell nobody that I was, or if they even recognized it. But finally, I got through those dark days. I was lonely, very lonely, just by myself. Wasn't interacting with nobody, just by myself. And I got out. I asked them where the nearest bus stops, the neighbors, and they was telling me there's one up the street and one, directly on Puritan. So I just started, catching the Dexter bus, going out down to the park where the homeless people meet up and getting free clothes and different things. And I was just bringing it back. And I was doing that regularly, whenever they, whenever they was passing out clothes and stuff. And finally ended up running into Amari's dad, Andrew. I guess he was going through this, I don't know what type of place it was, that lighthouse thingy. What's the name of it? Mariners Inn. So he was there, I guess probably for treatment or something. He was homeless. I don't know. I met him. He saw me, we talked, and I was happy to have somebody I could conversate with. And, we just started talking and just hit it off in that area. And the next thing I know, we went on our first date and things, took a turn, It went from, okay, this man being cool with me, now he's moving in with me, now we've been intimate, now Amari pops up. I'm pregnant with Amari. But I don't want to go down that road right there. I don't want to talk about that, I wanted to emphasize, what happened to me when I was homeless. And my friend Gregory, you asked me, he said, wow, you was out there on the streets. He was too. I saw met him, he was homeless too. But he's like, were you ever raped? Because a lot of people think you're raped being out on the street. And I told him, I said no. And he's like, wow, that's a surprise, But I didn't want to tell him what happened to me when I was, down there at Hart Plaza. So I just left that alone. And, So, but that's that story. And like I said, when I went to Hart Plaza yesterday, I looked at that area where it happened and trying to look and see if there was the camera, like where, if it was still there, but I didn't see it or maybe overlooked it, but I didn't see the camera. But it brought back a lot of memories and I walked past it. And I just looked and then I just turned my head, kept going. And I was just sitting there and walking and just thinking about those things. So it started to flood my head so heavy. So I just got my phone and just sat down and just started looking at stuff on my phone, videos or whatever, just to get my mind off of that. And then I walked off. Went down there. I didn't realize it was a police station. Sitting in front of the police station. They all came out. And I'm like, what the? I'm looking at them, they talking or whatever. It was strange. I didn't know I was sitting in front of a police station. I thought it was just some other building or whatever, but yeah, it was one. Yeah. Anywho, that's what I wanted to talk about. I want to save this video, so I put on a video like I normally do with other videos, just to remember the things that I've gone through in my life.